Yo, this is KaeDee,
And this is David.
and we are the K&D Exchange, where we exchange music, and as a result, we exchange ideas, bridging the gap between old and new, with all original music produced by. Enjoy. Yo, welcome back to the K&D Exchange. I am your co-host, KaeDee, and I am joined by my other co-host, David. I'm so relaxed from my bank holiday weekend that's why that sounded like that. I almost have to think through what's next? Who's the next co-host? Oh yeah, there's only one. Okay, all right. But yeah, David, what's going on?
Yeah, man, life is going on right now. Just chilling. Excited to talk about this album. I'm very curious to hear what you think about it.
So,
it's just straight in.
We are on our 12th exchange, all right? So this week, David gave me an album to listen to. We don't need to explain the new format anymore. We've done it for like a couple episodes now. Join us on Stereo if you haven't already. Every Thursday, and we drop the episode for those discussions, which are kind of outside our normal regular album discussions. We talked about Lil Nas X and the music industry, etc. last time. We dropped the episode the following Wednesday, but they're also available on the Stereo app. If you just go in there, you follow us, and you'll be able to see our events. You'll be able to tune in, hear us live, and drop in your voice notes, which sometimes range from extremely interesting and insightful to just completely unrelated to just downright stupid. So always keeps it interesting. So we've had some interesting people join our lives.
In all fairness, it's the first time I've ever been Rick Astley'd.
I was about to say we've got Rick rolled as well, and we've got,
oh boy,
yeah. But it was good. It was good. It was a good kind of key indicator that we should have just stopped right there. It was time to wrap up.
Yeah, I think we did though, didn't we? I was just like, on that note, peace. Like we're out.
On that note, we're out. Yeah, I could feel it. I could feel it coming when it was like suddenly, and then it was like, who could this random person be with this short ass voice note? And then as soon as it played, I was like, of course, man. But yeah. All right, let's jump in. So this week, David gave me an album called, what was it? Bang it.
Testify by P.O.D, released in 2006. Old school album.
Yeah. I mean,
it's really old.
Sounds like it.
Let's go.
Oof, have I set the tone? All right. What does P.O.D stand for, David?
Payable on Death.
Shit. And he gave me this to listen to. Shit.
It isn't, listen, it ain't Slipknot. It's not flipping Slayer or Killswitch Engage.
No,
it's not Dance Gavin Dance. It's not Fall of Troy. It's P.O.D. Straightforward.
Okay. All right. How do I start this? Now, I know I tried to bait you on the Rage Against the Machine one by jumping in and being like, oh, I hated that shit. And then actually saying that actually I loved it. Unfortunately, this time, I'm going to have to say I kind of struggled with this one.
Cool. Yeah.
But I feel like, what I appreciate is that you gave me another kind of rock album that sits differently to the Rage Against the Machine one, right? Now, the Rage Against the Machine one really, what was that called again? Battle for Los Angeles.
Battle of Los Angeles. Yeah.
Battle of Los Angeles. Now that one kind of sat with me a bit deeper, right? And then your breakdown made it sit with me even further, right? So it was like, okay, that's something I need to go back to and kind of through that lens when I'm ready to go back. This one, I struggled to get through it, and bring it into the rotation. So just what I'm normally listening to. Bank holiday aside, when there's we've had people meeting up with people and doing a bunch of stuff for 4 days or whatever. Cool, but I think even on a normal time, I think I would struggle to get this, like, to want to listen to this, right? Similarly to Rage, I'm only comparing because they're the most similar ones we've done. In terms of genre. Similarly, it would blend into the background for me, even though I did give it a headphone listen and I gave it a sit down speaker note take listen as well with the lyrics up. So I gave it 2, I would say, like, focus listens. My problem was that is that I listened to it and I'll be like, this sounds good, as in, like, production wise, sonic wise, the sounds sound good, from a mix point of view and all that stuff. But then it was like, yeah, I could pick out some songs at the beginning, like, okay, it's changed into this, changed into that. The problem is, as soon as my attention goes away, that's it. It all becomes one blend to me.
Yeah.
I have to really keep attention for me in order to, and we explained this in that other episode about how this kind of music is fresh to me still. So it's kind of like,
yeah, man,
trying to identify, like, key differences and things like that. But another thing that I noticed on this one in particular was going to then look at the track list, see what track I'm on, and realizing I had so much more to get through, even though it's a short, 12 songs?
I think it's 12 songs, yeah.
It's about 12 songs. And I was thinking, and it's like 50 minutes, right? So it's under an hour, I think.
Yeah, man, it's like 48 minutes. It's 13 songs.
Oh, okay, 13 songs. I'd be on song 4 or 5 thinking that I'm quite a way through the album for some reason, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure why. Or maybe when we go through it track by track, we might figure that out. But yeah, this one was an interesting one in the fact that I really just, it identified for me. I talked about last time about, there's certain kind of rock music that kind of gets me because of certain aspects of it. But then there's other ones where it's like, nah, I'm not vibing with that. And I couldn't explain why. This is good because this helped me a little bit identify what that was, right? So let's just go through. So Roots in Stereo, first track, cool opening. Took a bit of time for me to get into. I meant, like, as the song went on. When it started, I was like, okay. I knew I was in for, like, a rock kind of thing. And I was thinking back to what you said in the last episode. But then it did warm to me a little bit, or I warmed to it. It's cool.
How can you not like the chorus? Like, I love the chorus.
Yeah, okay. If I remember it correctly, there were parts of it, again, like I said, that started to build. And, like, the thing is, this happened a lot on this album where the chorus would be about to come in and there'll be a change in the kind of musicality slightly.
Right. Yeah.
And I would think, I'm not with this. But that would be in the first, like, second of it happening, because I'm expecting it to go one way. Yeah. But then actually I end up being like, actually, no way, I kind of like the way they're singing on this, or I like the way this sounds. I'm like, okay, maybe I don't dislike it. I do like it. I just expected it to go a particular way. But that happened actually quite a few times. Lights Out's cool. That's literally what I've written.
It's just your 1-2 rap rock, like, you know what I mean? Like, 1 for the money, 2 for the show, like all that kind of like.
I never want to hear that lyric again. I never want to hear that lyric again, man.
Unfortunately, that's like one of the staples of, like, rap rock.
I think I've identified that I'm not. There's, when it comes to rap, like rap rock or rock rap or whatever you want to call it, there's certain, like, conditions it has to hit for me.
Yeah, like, unfortunately, like, a lot of the MCs that, like, are in that rock rap mold, they're not as nuanced or
that's what it is. Yeah,
as deep. Like Zach De La Rocca for me he was always the exception to the rule. He was
Yep.
always I think he's one of the best to ever do it, and will, one of the best who will have ever done it, right?
Sure.
But I think you do find that there's a bit, this tropey sort of stuff, like especially with
Yeah,
this
it's
band. I
really
mean,
tropey.
they do play very, very safe. There's a lot of safety in this
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Like the reason I picked this album isn't because I wanted to sort of like, bring you onto the P.O.D train. Like this album for me was very, I've never spoken about this album with anybody,
No, you
right?
haven't.
So I've
No.
always sat with
Even
it.
with me, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm like, and I think why I chose this album is that there are moments where it hits me and I'm like, that's brilliant. They're just
Sure.
not that many moments. And it's like,
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think there's one. Maybe we'll get there as we go through it, but I'm looking through the track list and I'm like, I don't know if there's a song that I love, like from start to finish, but
Yeah.
there's like a verse or a chorus, or there's a middle 8 bit that I love. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or
It's
there's like
never
an
quite
idea.
complete. Yeah,
Yeah, like for
that's
the
it.
song, like the lyrical idea or something, like what the song's about. But then it's like, I just wouldn't listen to that song again. Do you know what I mean? Like I appreciate the message. It's like, when you appreciate the message behind something, but you're like, okay, I'm never going to listen to that again though.
Yeah, but it doesn't hit. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't hit because it's music at the end of the day. But sometimes the problem with some conscious rappers is that the musicality can sometimes be left to the wayside, and it's all about just the message and the bars. And sometimes it's like, if you want it to hit, sometimes you need the full package to really reel people into your message. Don't neglect other aspects of the music. You're not in battle rap, right, where it's just you and the opponent. You're not in a spoken word thing where it's just you and the audience. You're not making a political statement, like you're not making a speech out to like a press conference or anything like that. It's music, right? So you're gonna have to expect it, like, to kind of, don't neglect certain aspects of it and just expect people to just gravitate only to the message. Because yeah, we could appreciate the message. Are we going to listen to the song though? Right? That's the thing. That's the great thing about Kendrick. He gets nearly all aspects of it down, right? Musicality,
Yeah.
message,
Yeah.
delivery, all that stuff, right? And I think that's a good way of putting it. That it's throughout this album, there's like sprinkles of ideas that I like, or certain things that they do that I like. I just couldn't sit there and say, okay, as a result of that one part of the song, I'm gonna save this song, and add it to a playlist or something. I'm just thinking, when am I ever gonna listen to this again? But
Roots in Stereo, that's the one that I took away from this album. That is just
Roots in Stereo was a cool opening track. So I thought, okay, this will build into something more. But then Lights Out came on, and do you know what it is? Like the synesthesia thing. It's so interesting having in this apex that I was talking about in the studio with the monitor speakers, listening to like this album in particular. I don't want to just say rock music, but like because I've only listened to 2 in here, but it's like guitars like in my head look like this buzz of electricity coming out of these speakers, and that's what I imagine when I see the word Lights Out and I know the song. I actually don't remember the song. I remember the image that came up.
Sure.
Which is like this kind of static, but electricity, like gray. Like when you get on the television screen, like when you get the gray static or whatever, just that shooting out of the fucking speakers, and and it's just like me sitting there like, I should feel something, but I'm not like
fair enough.
That's what I would feel like. I love the detail. I love the soundscape. I can't think of an example. Like if you look at a building, you're like, that's beautiful. Okay, if you look at a building and you think this is beautiful, you look at like a house and you walk inside and everything. Like, this is amazing. It's so well put together. Blah blah blah. It just doesn't feel homely though. It's not practical.
Yeah.
It doesn't
there you go.
flow. It doesn't have the feng shui to it, and you're just like, I wouldn't live here. I can look at it. I can show people, yeah, see the way they did that? Maybe we should put that in our house, or I wish someone did that, but in a house that I'd want to live in. Yeah, for example.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
hear you.
it felt like. Yeah. If you could see me now, it's called Change of Pace. There's parts that I wrote that there's parts of this I like, parts that don't really do it for me. I'm trying to remember. Is it wrong of me to say that some parts of these songs kind of sound almost like they're teetering on the edge of, like, that kind of college rock kind of sound?
Corny.
Like, really corny kind of college
really,
rock,
really,
rock, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. I didn't know if I was really off base here.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's
okay.
Yeah, some of it does border on the whole kind of young man sort of corny sort of.
Yeah.
This is what I've always felt about. Like, I like their early stuff. So I say early stuff. There's an album they did called Payable On Death beforehand, which got me really, really into them. But then there was the album before that, which called Satellite, and I think that was 2001, 2000, something like that. But that was a lot more sort of like hard hitting.
For sure.
This one, different guitarist as well. I should say that.
I see, okay.
So this guitarist was there from 2003. His name's, oh my God, Truby. Matt Truby?
Okay.
Something like that. And he was there from 2003 to 2006. And so did this album. And yeah, like he brought quite a lot of like melody and a lot of kind of like more subtlety, I guess, to the way they arrange songs. Whereas the other guy beforehand was just like, he would play these wailing sort of like notes and like just hard hitting guitar. He just wanted to smash your face off. So it was, they were a lot more sort of like punky and hard, in their earlier days. But I think they kind of transitioned into the more sort of like, because you should hear their stuff now. Like, I can't listen to it because I'm like, this,
really? Yeah.
This
Are they
doesn't.
Still active?
Yeah, dude, they've been going since like, my goodness, early 90s. They've been going a long time. A lot of them are in their mid to late 40s now. So they've been going a while. Okay. But
why can't you listen to their stuff now?
It's just not, none of it hits me at all. It's I don't know, it's kind of what happens sometimes with artists, right? When they've been around for a long time and you've heard their best work, or you think they've heard their best work, but they lose something. When you get older, you lose a lot of that rage, right? It's like, you do, because that's what happens.
Of course, yeah.
It's natural.
Yeah.
Unless you're Zach De La Rocca, because I think he
hasn't lost the rage.
He was born angry, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or like somebody like Corey Taylor from Slipknot, like that guy can be so angry, right? But I think that Natural Part of Life, or Eminem, he's still just as messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was going to bring up Eminem because he said he's actually said in interviews, like, I haven't lost the passion, I've just lost the rage. So yeah, maybe that's why it doesn't translate the same way.
That's it, yeah. And I think that this was kind of like the sort of descent. Like they didn't really play like the harder, rockier songs. They were more like ballads. And that's what I find that, like, with track 3, If You Could See Me Now, I actually there is one line in this song which, if you've lost somebody who you want, to death, and you obviously want to feel them again, but I just love the line where he says, "Stay by my side so I can live, and I will be all right." And I'm like, oh, it's wonderful. It's just, to me, like, this is why I like the band, because they just say stuff and you're like, oh yeah, that's
like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, just that's wonderful. And like, the whole song, If You Could See Me Now, because I think it's referencing, so Sonny lost his mum at like 16, like young, right? And that basically, that was the event that made him, essentially. So he went into the the music game, and he could have been messing around with people and stuff, and drugs and all of that.
Yeah,
he didn't. Just concentrated on music. His cousin was I think his cousin is Wav, the drummer, and then 2 of his best mates ended up being the guitarist and bass player. Job, you know what I mean? A few years later,
that's cool.
They're touring the world.
That's pretty sick. Yeah.
But yeah, like I like the sentiment of If You Could See Me Now. The problem is I don't like the song as a whole. I just like the verses.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that made picking a top 5 kind of hard, because it's like, can I pick parts?
This is the thing. We'll get into it as well further on in the album. There were moments where I'm like, this is amazing. Like this is like what P.O.D. do. And then the rest happens and you're like, oh, you're getting in your own way,
like,
man.
Yeah, you're like, oh, okay, can we just like, it's like I wish this I don't know, like the verse parts like matched up to the chorus part, for example, like in terms of quality. I can't explain what I want from it. It's just
not
especially
what
me,
you
like,
got.
It's just not, just more than what is currently there. But, but yeah, so that one, you know, I guess I appreciated the change of pace. I felt like Battle of Los Angeles did that as well. So it's like by the third track, it switched the tone a little bit. It's almost like they know 2 songs in of just what we're doing now it's too much. So we'll slightly switch the pace.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, because Battle of Los Angeles was Testify, then Guerrilla Radio, then Calm Like a Bomb, which is sonically an assault on your senses.
What was after that?
And then they did Mic Check, which is...
That's the one which chills out a little bit.
Yeah.
Chills out a little bit. So yeah, first 2 or 3 songs, it's like, okay, this is a bit too much. Let's not pull up on the gas, but just a little bit, just a tiny bit.
Exactly. Let's just switch it up, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Goodbye for Now. Apparently Katy Perry was on the song.
Yeah. They released it as a single, I think. Okay. Or did they release it as a single? I think they did. Yeah.
I just saw it when I was looking at the lyrics, and it said that, showed a little snippet from an interview, and he was like, she was very young back then, and she just happens to be working with this producer, and we wanted like a female singer on that part of the song, and she was there, and you know, they didn't know it was going to be like Katy Perry. She was like Kate. She was called Kate something else back then, I think. But yeah, song's okay. Don't really like that kind of rock rap. It's a bit corny.
So right, there are throwbacks to a song called Youth of the Nation that they did early doors. So what, 2001, 2002.
Okay.
I think you'd appreciate Youth of the Nation. That is a much better song, and the rapping is actually all right. Like, it's really good.
Actually all right.
It's 3 individual stories like told throughout this song. Really, really good. And it captured my imagination. And also the guitar and bass riffs just dovetail so well. Like, honestly, they have the ability to be really good.
Right.
It's just that this album
doesn't show it.
But there are moments, there are glimpses. So yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that's the moment I realized that there's something about that kind of rock rap. It's just a bit corny for me. But but I think the way you put it earlier was right. It's like the nuance, the lack of nuance. It's like the kind of, some guys have found this thing called rap music, and they're like, yeah, man, we can do that, you know. And you know, it's like, yeah, you can write some good like lyrics that look good on paper, but then sometimes it's like the way they're delivered as well. It's a bit almost like you're just reading them off the paper, like you're trying to get them out. That's what it sounds like as well. There's not much vocal, and this could just be coming from someone who's much more deeply entrenched in hip hop, that you notice these things. Like Sky Zoo would write something. I just picked him off the top of my head. He just sounds effortless, right? He has such good control over his voice and his tonality, right? I mean, I don't know what he'd sound like over this kind of production, but like, and how he would adapt the flow. But it's like, if you take an example of someone like a seasoned MC like that, and then like a rapper like on these kind of verses, you can see the kind of difference. You can hear the difference, if that makes sense. But I think it's the lack of nuance.
When you're a person that sings and raps and harmonizes and does quite a lot, like, your eye isn't necessarily on the ball. of like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just want to
I
be
get
like
that.
the sickest MC. Like, no, like
Of course,
I
yeah,
want to say
of course.
words that are really easy to remember, because then I got to sing a few minutes later, because you need to understand
Yeah,
that.
no, I get that. It's just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, man. No, and
Like
that is
when
cool.
I hear it, I'm just like, nah, I'm not with this. But yeah, I think you've frozen. Yo, David.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I think you froze. All I heard was, dude, you need to understand, and then it cut.
Yeah, for some reason my internet is being silly as usual. It's fine now.
Okay, no worries, no worries,
Got
man.
it.
But yeah. So I get your point. I get your point. Like, obviously, it's not their main thing, and I wouldn't expect them to be like elite MCs. But although, if we're going to talk about Rage Against the Machine, I mean, he never came off corny to me, like Zach De La Rocca or whatever his name
It's
is.
to
I
do
never.
with, yeah, but it's, to be honest, okay, it's to do with your, I guess your soul, the way that you approach the music, your
Yeah,
unique
that is. Yeah,
view. Maybe it's
that's
to do
exactly.
with the fact that, like, Sonny Sandoval, from P.O.D, like, he's always been somebody that I've looked at, like, because
Yeah.
I first heard of P.O.D when I was about 15 or 16, and I don't know,
Okay.
I just liked him. I, I don't know what it is that
Fair.
I can't
Yeah.
really explain it. I just liked him.
What,
But
musically or as a person?
I think both, because I think
Okay.
his personality really sort of shone through the kind of music he was making, and
Right.
yeah. But I think that, like, with Zach De La Rocca, like, I suppose they're kind of diametrically opposed artists, right? Like, Zach De La Rocca is the artist's artist. He's a thinking
Yeah.
man. He's an activist, and he's
Mhm.
extremely annoyed. And the thing is, his personality comes through, and just the
I
way
guess.
that
Yeah.
he raps as well, the pictures that he paints,
Yeah.
I mean, and also the music that was behind him. It was so
Hmm.
iconic, and he became such an icon. They, as
For
a
sure.
band, were you know, greater than the sum of their parts. They became
For sure.
something
For sure.
monstrous. I think that, like, with P.O.D, like, they're very much like, we don't want to be the best at anything. We just want to do. We just want to be
Oh,
the best that
okay.
we
I
can
get
be.
that feeling. Yeah, I
They're
get
just
that
like,
feeling.
yeah, like, they're not. There's like a real honesty in the sense that they're not trying to be anyone else. They're actually making, like, rock and roll and stuff that's, like,
Yeah.
comes from a good place.
No, I
That's
get
kind of
that.
like, yeah,
Yeah. Again, that's a really good way of putting it, because it's really described the kind of feeling I had from it. It's almost like they're like a group of friends and family that I think you said, and they play every now and then at like a show, or like for their family or for their friends. They'll show what they can do, and it just so happens that they've happened to have been recorded. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And then we get to hear it. So that maybe explains why, I guess, for me, like, as an outsider, it's like, if you were listening to it live, I probably wouldn't be saying to you, oh yeah, this kind of part, this part was really, really great. This part, not as much, blah, blah, blah. Because I wouldn't be thinking of it as a song that I'd go and listen to again. I would just be in the live experience and just kind of
exactly.
seeing it for what it is. But when you listen to it as like an album, as songs, you're like, am I gonna, especially now where it's like, kind of, you just make your playlists, and you have your own kind of musical kind of journey and life within your app or whatever. It's like, where does this fit into that?
Mm.
And it's like, it's not like I can just take the chorus out and put that on loop, can I? Like,
True stories.
I hope it never comes to that kind of thing, because I'd just be so weird. But I don't want the consumer to get the ability to just cut out parts of songs that they like, because that will just fuck up the whole game, I think. But yeah. So what were we on? Goodbye for Now.
Goodbye for Now. Yeah, now we're on Sounds Like a War, I think.
Sounds like war, or sounds like a war.
Sounds like war. Yeah, sorry, I got it wrong.
Nah, I'm laughing because in my in my notes I just wrote nope. Literally straight up.
Really?
Just nope. Nah.
Excuse me while I die.
That's yeah, no, straight up. I think at this point I must have looked at the track list and thought, okay, how much more have I got left of this?
Yeah,
And
fair enough.
I was just like, you know what? Nah. Like sometimes it's like, okay, I'll pick out this part that I like and I'll talk about, this bit's kind of cool. I'll maybe expand on my thing. I've just written nope.
Just
like
straight up no. Oh
no.
man, I think the chorus, I really like the chorus. There's one bit in the middle eight where there's like this little, like the guitar plays like a delayed note, like twice or three times. And the bass plays like a bit like an octave higher.
Oh, okay.
And then it's like, and it's just like, oh yeah, cool. And then there's all these like really weird, like there's backward guitar effects. There's like this sort of like, it's like this crescendo of stuff. Remember. It's really not, like, I love stuff like that. It's just like all these ambient sounds, like you're underwater and you've discovered like, I don't know, a kelp forest, and it's just oh, goodness. Forest. Yeah, man. Shout out Octonauts. My son loves it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But yeah, like I just love that bit, and then it like hits with the chorus, and then you've got the overlaid like wailing guitar over it, and I'm like, right, that's how you build drama and stuff. The thing is, though, you are screwed live because they play with just the four of them. You need so you need throughout this album, there's always two guitars, well, mostly two guitars, right?
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, you need to play with another guitarist. But this is the thing, like, and then I've seen it with bands and stuff where they overlay like loads of different guitars, and then and then when you see them live, you're like, oh,
yeah, it's a bit
it's a bit empty, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you realize, it's because they've overdubbed it with like,
yeah, exactly, yeah. And you're like, oh, it's production. But yeah, man, cool. No, we don't need to labor on that point.
Sounds like
war. Sounds like war.
Yeah, just sounds like wank to me. But no, I'm joking. On Grind started out kind of cool. The hook is nice.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I've moved on. On Grind. Started out kind of cool. The hook is nice. Again, I'm just not a fan of this type of rock rap.
This gets skipped 100% of the time.
I'm not gonna even be nice about it then, because the second verse especially personifies the type of style that I am not into.
Yeah, dude, it's not good, is it?
No, I heard it and I was like this is not. Yeah, just sigh.
We'll be listening to this again.
Yeah, literally, I was like, you know what? I will give it a full listen for the sake of the episode, but never again.
Man. Yeah, man.
Never again.
Yep. Do you know what I love about like the way that we do things? It's just like we'll take the L and then we'll move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we understand how this works, right? It's okay to, you take the L. That's how you don't take other L's, right? But that guy Gotti or whatever, he sounds like All Eyes on Me by Tupac. There's a guy on there called Big Psych.
Yeah.
Imagine his voice off top. He's on the songs like Checkout Time, Picture Me Rolling. He's got that deepish kind of voice.
Picture Me Rolling. Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a bar of his. But yeah, he's got a kind of really deep voice. I've never actually seen a picture of him. I don't know he didn't turn into anything bigger. He sounds like, I almost thought for a second it was him. This guy sounds like that. But yeah, I threw that in there just because it was one of the few notes of interest listening to this album.
So I think, there's a podcast at the end of this album with the band, and you can listen to it, and it's just them listening to the song and just listening to the album, and just talking about it. Yeah, exactly. But I think the guy that they got in to sing this song, rap on the song, he was like a gangland member, was shot in the back like 10 times, they said. Like, this guy's been through some stuff. So I mean, when they're commentating on this song in particular, like, I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I managed to, I just skipped through, and this was one bit I happened to listen to. But they were just saying that he's just somebody that was really emotional throughout the song making process, and he was like, sort of thanking them for giving him the opportunity to tell his story. And I'm like, oh, that's all nice.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's not that good a song though, Skip.
The song's not that great. I'm sorry.
It's whack.
It's not, yeah, it's whack, yo. But unfortunately, it doesn't get better from there for me. So
Really?
yeah, no, I don't know if it's a bias because of what's kind of come before. So this time, nope, hard skip. Sounds like the college type, like rap type, college rock type shit I used to hear when I was younger, which I've always hated.
I'm
It
actually
sounds
listening
so close
to it now.
Yeah, that's what I've written down for this song.
Yeah,
And
it's a skip from me.
it's not for me. Mistakes and Glories. Wasn't feeling this one either. I'm sorry to say. But
It's a bit try hard, this one.
yeah, that one's got a bit of a message to it. It's trying to have a bit of more of a political. Is this the you work for us or something like that? Is it that one?
It makes it slow. Well, it's got stuff that says like, and pretty up that face because your servant's away. It's time to play your role. To sing and dance just the way we like it. Sweep the leg if you don't stand for something. That's it.
And then they're just shouting mistakes and glories, and I was like, I'm not with this, man. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Although, like, I do like, the message is cool, man. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's just, it almost sounds again like quite, it's almost tropey, I guess, because that's one of the vehicles of and one of the monikers of rock is very much, anti-establishment. Especially when you look at, punk and ska and stuff like that, very anti-establishment, and rock has a lot of roots in that, definitely.
Of course,
but of course, these guys are, they sort of err on the more spiritual side of things, and they're trying to open people's eyes to the
it's cool. I mean,
craziness.
Of course, I can imagine certain people this really resonating with them.
Definitely.
Like, everyone listens to music differently. Everyone resonates with like different pieces of art in different ways. Like sometimes some people like it when it's really on the nose and it's kind of in your face, and sometimes some people are like, look, I need a bit more, or sometimes you can't even decide what hits you and what doesn't. Like it is what
sometimes
it is.
It just does, right?
It just does, and sometimes that changes with age. Sometimes as well.
For real.
That's a big thing I've realized as well. So, it's cool. I'm not going to down it. I'm just going to say that I wasn't feeling it. I'm not going to say it's trash or anything like that. But yeah, I wasn't feeling it. Let You Down, wasn't feeling that one either.
Too slow for me. Too slow.
Yeah, not for me. Teachers, nope. That song felt like it went on forever. Like I was sitting there like, when is this going to end? Like, honestly.
So I love the chorus.
I was going to say the look on your face is me.
Yeah, okay, you because I'm listening to it right now and I'm like, nah, I love. But
maybe the chorus is cool, I think.
Do you know what I like about it? Again, for me, it's his voice. Like when he sings, like this album for me was the best Sonny had sounded, like in a singing capacity, not so much in a rapping capacity. Like he sounded better on previous albums.
Okay.
I just think that like singing wise, like his voice is much better. I personally like the chorus of this song.
Does he sing in like not a high register, but like obviously, but I guess when he sings, it's different to when he's rapping. When he's rapping, it's like in his deeper kind of.
That's it. It's his chest voice, isn't it?
I'm rapping voice, yeah. Whereas singing, it's a bit higher up, or I think that's. I don't know the technical term, but yeah. See, when he does that, in quite a few of the choruses, I always expect to not like them in the first like second of them starting, but then actually, I'm like, no, it's not bad. These actually sound quite like nice, like pleasant to listen to, but. For some reason, it always sounds like it's going to fall into that college rap type, a college rock type thing, which some of these other songs did unfortunately go into.
Yeah.
But Strength of My Life, that had a different sound. And I appreciated that one.
Bit of reggae, bit of Mattis Yahoo.
Yeah, the more reggae style, that was cool. I like this one a lot better than the others. And
same singer as on the first tune, by the way.
Oh, I could tell. I could somehow.
Do you know who Mattis Yahoo is?
Who?
Mattis Yahoo.
Mattis Yahoo.
Yeah.
No.
So he's the singer on Strength of My Life and Roots in Stereo, right?
Okay.
Jewish guy from Brooklyn, sang reggae. Like he was massive. Like I think 2007 to about 2010. I
So
remember
that's a
him.
white guy.
Yeah, Jewish dude, big tall Jewish guy, singing reggae, beatboxer, really good singer.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's um yeah, I used to really enjoy his music
Oh, okay, that's
because
cool. I mean,
yeah,
he's a nice vocal tone and everything as well. Like he
his
really
vocals are
sits in the pocket nicely.
yeah. And
Yeah,
like especially on Roots in Stereo, he's ad-libbing the whole time. They just got him in the studio and was just like, see what you
yeah,
can do over this. Just like what? Just came in and
yeah.
just yeah, apparently did it super quick. Yeah, he's got a
That's
really nice, yeah, you're right about his voice. It's super clean
yeah,
and it just
yeah. That's what it is.
cuts through everything. Like you know it's him when he's singing. He's really good.
That, that's one of the first voices you hear, right, on Roots and Stereo. So I thought we were gonna get more of that.
Yeah.
I
I
thought we
mean,
were gonna get more of that throughout the album. But
if he joined like P.O.D and they had two vocal, like genuinely, they would sound
yeah,
amazing together. I think anyway. But to
I
be
think
honest,
so. I think so
Mattis
too because
Yahoo,
I liked his vocal style.
yeah, he would make me sound good singing. That's the kind of singer he is. He sort of elevates other people, I think. Yeah, man.
Sure.
Anyway.
Oh wow. Okay, so we've got two songs left, I think. Um, Say Hello.
Sorry while I die.
That's fine. That's fine. Say Hello was cool. It's got a nice drive to it. Similar feeling though to a lot of the other ones. Nothing stuck to me. Um, just didn't. And the fucked up part is that I knew that I had two songs left because obviously, you know, Strength of My Life comes on, it's different. And so I look up at the track list
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, okay, two more songs after this. Cool. So Say Hello comes on and then I'm listening, whatever. Song ends and I'm like, why has the final song not begun playing? Turns out I listened to the final song as well and hadn't realized that one of them had ended and the other one had started.
Yep.
And I was like, well, you know what? It's time to go. I'm so sorry to say, but yeah, this this wasn't the one.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Did I cut off?
No, it's me, my flipping internet.
Okay.
Sorry, man. I was just here swearing. Sorry.
No
Yeah,
worries, no
man.
worries.
No, I heard you say this album wasn't the one. Like, that's
Okay, cool.
fair enough. Like for me, the reason I said at the top, man, the reason I
Yeah,
chose this
yeah,
album, I've not spoken to anybody about it. And like the thing is, it's got moments in most of the songs where I'm like, yeah, man, this is a P.O.D that I like.
sure, yeah,
It reminds me of being young again with the sort of like, the rage and the sort of, fight the world kind of thing. And that's what
for
I
sure.
thought. Then they came with the whole, new metal thing and stuff, and they were in and about that time. So that time period for me it's sacred. It's awesome. Like I
No, I
absolutely
get that.
love
It's
it.
that there's like nostalgia kind of attached to it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like if I was ever to give you another P.O.D album, it would be the two preceding this one, and
Okay.
then they've done loads after this, and
Sure.
I wouldn't ever recommend them to people, but that's just me
Okay,
because
fair.
I think that they've gone down the safe route, which is fine because they've gotten older, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
but there's one thing that I wanted to ask you though, right? So,
Yeah, go on.
okay, so Sonny, the main singer, like, used to have these big long dreads and stuff like that. What did you think about the whole sort of Jamaican kind of thing? Because the guy's a white guy. So what did you think about that kind of?
Yeah. This is the thing. This is a different this is like what 2006, right? This is I hate saying it's a different time, but I mean, that is a part of kind of, I mean, I'm sure that there were people who were saying, bruv, come on, man. But then on a mainstream level, it felt like it just kind of got accepted. But I mean, he's not Jamaican at all, right? He's
I
like,
don't think he is.
Is he an American guy?
Oh man, I did know this once upon a time. If only there was a
Yeah, a useful tool to help you find out.
There you go. So he's 46 years old. There you go. I wasn't wrong.
Oh,
Jeez, come on. Here you go.
Yeah.
He's born in San Diego, California.
And has he got even any like Jamaican ancestry?
Oh, it doesn't even.
No, it doesn't even say.
Doesn't say. But
yeah, see,
looks like a white guy to me. But he looks like a dude.
Yeah. When it showed a picture of them, I was like, oh, it's full of white guys. Okay, that's not what I expected on my first listen, because I listened to it before, right? Like I thought that like the first voice I heard, I thought it would have been like a black guy or like a mixed guy or something. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Turns out, okay. So I'm looking at I just see the picture. I just see the little thumbnail. It's very small, but you can gauge color from that far away, right? And I'm just like, okay, so maybe
they're black.
Bass player black. Okay, is he he's probably in the back of the picture then, because I literally couldn't see. Like it was the majority of them are white, right?
Yeah,
or like light skin.
Yeah.
So I must not have noticed, because I saw that picture and I was like, oh, okay, a bunch of white guys. And then I went in for my like second listen.
KaeDee is the definition of a Karen that doesn't see color. That's what the K in KaeDee stands for. Karen, darling.
Karen. Oh. Why?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm just firing shots. Sorry, bro.
I had a great weekend, and now you're. Why? That's the worst thing anyone could have said. You've said this to me before. You've called me a Karen before, and this is some bullshit, man. This is a public medium, bro. Like, say that to me behind closed doors if you want, yeah, and I'll battle you on that. But
say it to me on road, yeah. Say it to me on road,
exactly.
Yeah? See what
exactly,
you, blood.
Oh, bruv. But yeah. No, I do see color, because apparently I am a person of color, which whatever the fuck that means.
You're a puck.
I'm a puck. Yeah. That's how I read it. I'm a puck.
So would that make you and I on this podcast Tupac?
All right. So basically, the original point we were talking about was
cultural appropriation.
Cultural appropriation. Yeah, I'm not your son, David. Yeah, I'm your friend. So leave the dad jokes to that side of the camera, right? But yeah, yeah. Oh man, every time I FaceTime my dad, it's just a barrage of dad jokes nonstop. Do you know what he said to me the other day when we were talking about Steve? I was talking about Stevie Wonder to him.
Oh,
and I was talking. He was asking me about like how Apple Music and Spotify, how that stuff works, right? Because he was telling me about back in the day going and buying vinyls and stuff, right? And how cool it is that he can go on his phone now and just find something and listen to it.
Yeah.
And so we were just talking about that, and then he goes, okay, so what's the difference between like Apple Music and Spotify? Why is there different ones? To him, it's just, why isn't there just one? So I was explaining it, breaking it down, and I was explaining something about Spotify, about how you can add songs to the queue, and it's just like it's linked up to you can have like 4 people at once on your Spotify, but they can be on their phones, and they can queue up phone, just all this technological shit. And he goes, oh, so is that like so when you're listening to Stevie Wonder, are you adding to the songs in the queue of life? And I was like, oh, like
fair play.
Yes,
play.
Very clever.
Well done.
Not every bullet needs to be fired, right?
Oh man, but the thing is, if you don't shoot your shot, then like when else is he ever going to shoot that shot? Come on, he's got.
I get it from that angle too, which is like it's there, and you kind of don't want it to just leave there. You're like, oh, that's pretty good. That's really good.
It's an open goal. It's an open goal. You've got to give him props for that.
That's what it, mate. He has so many. And we're like, Dad, can you put your powers to good use for once? Like, why do you use your powers for evil, man? Like, you're clearly so quick on the draw, but like, oh man. Yeah.
Sounds like an absolute ledge. That's brilliant.
Which he is, but cultural appropriation. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've learned more in the past year or so about, I never really, I've seen like people before talking about, oh, this person's got their hair in like dreadlocks and this and that and cornrows or whatever, but they're not black. And it's not that I've not really ever sat there and thought, why is that an issue? Well, I've thought, why is that an issue? As in, I want to know why, right? I just don't know why. But if you're saying it's an issue, then it probably is an issue, right? You know, I mean, I'm not from that world, right? So I'm not going to just be like, what? Why is that an issue, bro? No. You know, it's like, I don't really know the ins and outs of it. So if you're saying there's an issue, okay, what's the issue? But it's only really in the last couple of years that I've actually been able to kind of, obviously, you know, we've mentioned this before. In the last year or so, everyone's been more like vocal about things, at least on maybe with a lack of things to do outside and stuff, right? And going out and stuff. Everyone's kind of lives have been so much more focused in on Instagram and stuff. So you see even more like infographics and things like that, which explain things in very simplistic ways. And there's more content geared towards that, which is really good, I think, because it means I don't have it just on a bucket list in my head of like, okay, I need to look that up. I need to look up that. I need to look up that. That shit gets forgotten. You know, that's like my Amazon wish list. It gets bigger and bigger and nothing happens, right? And because I don't want to part from my money, but it's the same with this. I don't want to part from my time. But then the good thing about this is that this stuff kind of just comes up in front of you, and you're like, oh, I've been meaning to know about that. So you swipe through, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. Okay, great, I understand that. And I guess I understand why there's the argument for, you shouldn't appropriate people's kind of I get it with like hair. I get why people might be a bit like, it's just hair, but then it's like, in a lot of ways it's not just hair. Like there's other kind of aspects to it. I don't know how you feel about this, but I've heard this said to me from other people. And even whether it's like the argument that, well, you know, dreads and cornrows and stuff like that were very important for like slaves and stuff like that, in terms of like mapping routes and coded language and things like that.
Crazy.
Never was on my radar before, right?
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's amazing.
Then so there's that, which is like, you can't just use that as a fashion accessory now, right? You know, fuck all about it. It's like, it's not that you can't. It's like anyone can do what the fuck they want. I get in an abstract sense, but it's like, come on, man. It's very what's the word? Like distasteful. It's very tone deaf. Then there's another argument, which is like that your hair is just designed differently, right? And actually, your hair's not even designed for it. You actually may break your own hair, or for lack of a better word, if you start to use that, right? If you start to wear dreads and stuff, your hair's just not designed for it, right? And then that maybe is linked into the other argument, which is that it's just hypocritical and again distasteful that this type of hair is seen as unprofessional and not normal or whatever, until someone white who has a platform uses it, then suddenly it's in fashion. And it's like, I can't remember who the actress was who first, like this white actress in the 60s or 70s, I can't remember, or maybe a bit later than the 80s maybe, who was like spotted with like dreads or something like that, or with cornrowed hair. And it may have been earlier than that. And suddenly it was like became the craze. Everyone just wanted to get their hair braided and stuff like that. And it was like, what? You've been making us feel like, when I say us, I mean like, you know, you've been making this group of people feel like, you know, their natural hair is something to be ashamed of, and it's weird and exotic and all that sort of stuff, or very othering kind of language. Now suddenly this person does it, and now it's all the craze. Like, it's something very distasteful about that, you know, and I can understand why, you know, that's an issue. Now, if we bring it to this guy, I feel weird sitting here and saying, yeah, nah, fuck that. He shouldn't be doing that, right? Because I don't know. It feels like, where does he sit in that landscape? Like what is his kind of, what's his background? That's why I'm asking, like, is he even part Jamaican? Did he grow up in Jamaica? Like, what's his background like? What's his, not even just Jamaica, but just like, you know, what's his background? What's his intention? What's his life like? You know, I don't know.
So from what
I
I
feel
could,
weird kind of placing judgment
yeah.
on him,
So
not knowing much.
basically, it's never really bothered me at all. Like, he's one of the few, like, I think what he's always referencing through the use of reggae music, as well as the kind of, like, you know, Jamaican inflections in a lot of his singing and rapping and stuff, I think he's just reflective of kind of people that he's grown up with, and all he's had is
Yeah, I
like
can get that. Yeah.
positive kind of vibes from it.
Yeah.
And also, like, his faith, he's a Christian dude. I don't know if they're a Christian band. I think they are, but like, I know
You
he
said they're
is,
like a
right?
multi-faith band, right? You said
Yeah,
that last time.
yeah. I think I got that wrong. I remember
Oh,
reading
okay.
a comment saying, or I read an article saying they're a multi-faith band. Like, so I was assuming like Islam was in there, or whatever. But
Right.
no,
Yeah.
upon reading it, reading and stuff today and yesterday, no, they're very much like a bunch of Christian dudes that sing and rap and play
Okay.
rock reggae music. But like, for me, yeah, I mean, you know, I remember when I was younger, when I was a lot more angry about stuff.
Yeah.
I remember just like, who the hell is this dude? Like, who does he think he is? Then I heard the song and I was like, I really like this dude. Like, he won me over like
Right.
instantly.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I guess that tells you like how changeable I can be, but also like
Right.
how kind of fickle you are as a younger person, right? Like, if they
Yeah.
happen to, you know, appeal to you in one way or another, like, music used to be a big smokescreen for quite a lot of stuff. Like, you know, back in the day, you know, I always had my reservations about R. Kelly. Like, it always sat wrongly with me, and I can say that after the fact, and people will be like, "Yeah, right, of course you did." I've got no way to prove it, but just take my word for it. You know, I'm saying it. But when he brought like Remix to Ignition out, like, oh my goodness me, you can guarantee that I was just like, yeah, man, this is
playing that all the time.
this is an absolute banger. Or I Wish Part Two. Like, what are you talking about? Like, amazing, like, absolutely, like, brilliant, you know, musician.
Music.
But you know, you can kind of, do you know what? I've lost my flow.
Oh no, because you were talking about
Oh,
like
no.
being fickle, like with mute, like
there you
with,
go. Thank you. So yeah, you know, being fickle with music, you know, even though I knew that he was a wrong and like still liked his music. So conversely, I didn't like the look of this dude who happened to sing about a song about feeling alive, and I was like, actually, I really like this.
Sure.
So I think for me, like, I just didn't care. There was just something, as I said to you, I don't know if it was last week or a couple of weeks before, there's just something about his voice that I really enjoy.
Okay.
And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, no, I feel
not
you.
the greatest singer in the world, like, not at all, but there is an earnestness to the way that he sort of presents his lyrics and stuff. It comes from a good place, and so that's why I think there's plenty of time for it. I think there are better albums that they've done. Satellite is, I think, their best-selling album for a good reason, because it's the best one. So
sure.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that reminds me of a conversation I had over this weekend, because I think I told you off air, like, we had me and my friends had a lot of Drake debates, and it's funny, someone said, we started talking about him being a culture vulture, or like culturally appropriating styles, because we were like, he keeps talking about how he's from Toronto, and, you know, a lot of, because I think we were talking about can't remember, we weren't even talking about Drake at that point. I think we were talking about just language and stuff like that, and how certain words are inspired by certain other, like, dialects and things like that, and how a lot of Caribbean and Jamaican language is part of like London culture.
Yeah,
right?
man,
In terms
patois.
of patois and stuff, like, you know, and it's just so normal for us to talk like that, a lot of us, right? And you know, it's just, you almost forget, like, this isn't like British slang. Like, we call it British slang, but it comes from somewhere else. And like even like was so strange on it. It's like I realized when someone told me that all these English words that were actually taken from India, and I was like, what? Oh, so all this time that I was saying like the Indian version when I was younger, I thought that they were just trying to say the English word, but just like with an accent, like because they're, you know, they're Indian. I just thought there wasn't a word for it in our language. No, that's the original version of that word. You know? So we say like, what's an example? Like, we say pajama, right? Pajama comes from that, apparently. And
I
there's
had
me thinking,
no
oh,
idea.
that's my freshy immigrant family. They can't say pajama.
And they've been in the right the whole time.
They've
Amazing.
been in the right the whole time, right? All this stuff, right? Just never came off my radar. Never was taught that in school. I had someone only say that to me last year, right? Didn't know that.
Boy. Yeah,
And it's
that's
crazy, right?
rough. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, when I was talking about cultural appropriation, I know that you are a very deep thinker, and so you've blown it way further in scale than I thought. I was just talking about Sunny, just wanted to know what you thought.
Yeah.
But
No,
you're
for sure.
now basically like Britain's coming out of, you know, the European Union. Like I now want to leave this place now because like pajamas, I can't even trust them anymore. Like it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's no British equivalent. Now, there's other words, and I can't remember what they were exactly, but like I always find it funny, like when I go to Tesco and it says, "Oh, get some, you know, here's some chai tea," and I'm like, "What? So you mean tea,
TT.
right?" Because that's just we call it chai,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We say like, what do we say? Like cha binia, which means do you want some tea, right? Binia means drink, and or it depends how you say it. So it's like, do you want some tea? So when I see it written, it says chai tea. I'm just like, the fuck is that? What you're trying to say is, oh, this is the exotic Indian tea, right?
Yeah.
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 So just call it that, bro. Just say it what it is, man. It's not acting like it's anything else. But yeah. But back to the Drake thing. We were talking about like language informing some of our slang and stuff like that. And then we were saying that it was a big influence, like patois and stuff, big influence on British slang, but also on Canadian. And then we started talking about Drake, like how, oh, you know, because Drake's from Canada. But then we were like, yeah, but it's a bit sus that it took him what 4 or 5 albums for him to suddenly be like, suddenly he meets Skepta, jumps on a UK vibe, and suddenly it's like, oh no, but Toronto's been Caribbean influence this whole time. So, you know, but it's like, never heard any of that shit in your earlier music though, right?
Listen, he is, because
So
like if it walks
yeah,
like a duck, quacks like a duck, dude, it's a duck.
right. But the interesting part is related to what you said about how when you heard Sonny his song, suddenly it was like, no, actually, you know what? It changed the
I'll allow
perspective.
him. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one of my friends then said, when we started talking about him, one of them said, yeah, Drake is a bit of a culture vulture, isn't he? And then the other one said, I think he said something along the lines of, yeah, but he does do it really well though. And then the other one's like, yeah, he does make bangers. And I was thinking, yeah, he does do that sound very well. I'm not going to lie. Every
Yeah.
year it gets played out, you know, summer
Yeah, he
barbecues,
does.
and I enjoy it. But then I had to raise the question, which was like, yeah, it's true, and that can be true, but don't you think like he gets a pass for it? Should he
Does
get a
it
pass for
make
it?
it right, sort of thing?
Yeah, because I get that completely. What you're saying about how suddenly like it's easy to go on social media and look at just a picture of someone and have the kind of theory behind it, like the idea of not culturally appropriating and not wearing dreads if you're not black or whatever, and looking at a picture of someone and being like, nope, not with it, cancel, right? But then when you go in depth, it becomes you know, the way your mind works is way more complex than a simple kind of he or she doesn't fit this, therefore done, right? It's way more. Your actual relationships in real life are so much more complex than that.
Absolutely.
And you have a relationship with the artist that you listen to in a sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so that informs, especially with music, because it's something that can be so personal. It kind of almost feels like a you know, you're kind of getting to know them a bit better. So then suddenly your perspective changes, because if they carry themselves in a suddenly certain things kind of fly to the wayside to a little bit, and you don't realize it, and you're just like, you know what, actually, yeah, you're a sound guy. I assume you have good intentions and that you have a good reason for this, and actually maybe it's not as deep as I think it is. Had they come off a bad way, right? Had your perception of them been bad, like someone like 6ix9ine, for example, can't stand the guy.
Shouldn't be dropping the N-bomb. You and Fat Joe need to stop that.
Right, but for some reason I give Fat Joe a pass.
He needs to stop it. I genuinely
he does need to stop.
I would like to have a stern word and just be like, Fat Joe, listen, I'm not a violent man, but I'm sure I could rally up a posse of violent individuals. Now, you know, he'd look at me and just be like, get this UK, you know, wimp out of my face, man. Who the does this guy think he is? And he'll probably call me the N-word, and I'll be like, right, that's it. Take him away, boys. Weed him out.
Yeah.
Let's take him out. He's got to go.
Away, boys.
Take him away.
His entourage. Yeah.
Listen.
But it's interesting though, because I've always thought that was weird too.
Yeah, I hate it.
And yet, you know, I think I was listening to his music the other day, like Lean Back and stuff like that, and it just didn't cross my mind. Like a little bit it did. It's like when you remember and you're like, oh, why? But then 6ix9ine, it's like straight off the bat, I'm going in thinking, fuck this guy. So everything that he does, which may have overlap with other artists that I do like, for him, I'm very much like, I just don't like you to begin with. So all of these things, I'm calling you out on. Whereas he may have qualities that are very similar to someone else that carries himself in a way that I find to be quite positive and I kind of resonate with. And it's weird how psychologically it changes then how you perceive them, right?
Absolutely.
That's why I'm always preaching this whole don't idolize celebrities and stuff like that, because you can fall into another extreme where you're only getting this one side of them, right? Like R. Kelly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You don't know the nitty gritty, you know, the horrible nitty gritty bits of a person. But the thing is that plays into a like we've been watching like lots and lots of like murder mysteries and, you know, crime series and stuff. But there's always been this question, really, and this is what I think, you know, your point of idolizing celebrities, you know, why you shouldn't do that, basically points to a question that you should ask: how well can you know somebody really? Like, even though, you know, you might have people nearest and dearest to you, how well do you really know them? You know, and that's the thing. So
you can never be in your best friend's head, and you can never be with them when they're truly, because they're truly alone.
Exactly.
Right? Very rarely will you be a fly on the wall or watching a security camera of them, because then that opens up other, you know, ethical questions, right, of why you're doing that in the first place.
Consent.
Yeah, right. You know, so unless you have that kind of privileged viewpoint where you can kind of see them where they think that they're truly alone, or somehow you could invent some technology where you can actually, because even then they could act a certain way on the outside. You can never truly know what it's like for them on the inside.
Yeah.
These are people that you know and have formed like deep relationships with.
Exactly.
Your favorite artist is only putting forward what they want to in their music and their imagery and their marketing.
Yeah.
Right. It's not always sinister. Sometimes it's just part of the game, right? It's just part of marketing and part of promoting yourself. You just put what you want to put in. You want to make yourself look as good as possible, and this and that, and have some private life. It's not always a sinister kind of, what are they hiding? Sometimes they're just not hiding anything. They're just being private. They're just showing you. You don't always want to know everything about this particular person. You just want to market the music and the shows and all that sort of stuff. And, oh, they have a nice personality. Sick. Let's jump on that. Let's use that in interviews. Cool. Whatever. If you can't really truly know the people that are in your circle and that you see and talk to face to face, how are you truly going to know these people who don't even know you exist and are kind of giving you a kind of particular perspective from them, right? Which they have every right to do, you know?
Do you know, I think one of the best examples of this is Eminem's Stan. because
Right. Yeah.
it's an extreme example, obviously, but it came up on my YouTube like recommended videos for some unbeknownst reason. So I was like, I haven't seen this. I have not seen this in like 15 years. So I was like, let me watch that again. And I listened to it. And it's very much like, when he says, dear Mister, I'm too good to
call or write my fans.
Call or write my fans. Yeah. And it's like, well, no, Eminem probably has, you're not thinking about it from the other side, right? You're just like, this is my personal relationship to you. Why are you not responding to me? And it's like, he's got probably 15,000 million other people to respond to.
You see it in the video, right? The
and
letter
it's like,
falls out and stuff.
Yeah. And you haven't got, there's always like another facet to the story is basically what I'm trying to say.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, how well can you know somebody? The idolization of celebrities, I think, has really hit a brick wall, especially in COVID times. Because I don't know if you saw last year, but Gal Gadot and like a bunch of other idiots were singing "Imagine" by John Lennon in this terrible, terrible video, and I made it about, I think, about 4 seconds into it, and I was like, nah, like you guys are actually pointless. And then there was the second one, which was the worst.
There was a second one.
So there was this, it was like another conglomeration of other useless celebrities, right? But I remember Jesse Pinkman was in it. And
yes, I think I know what this was.
I take responsibility.
Yeah.
For the times that I didn't stand up to what was right. But I'm an actor. And I'm so, oh my God, I'm so intense. Christ. And this really hurt me. Like, honestly, my goodness. I genuinely, I sent that round to my sister and my brother. We have a little group on Twitter. Because we're the only ones out of the 5 that use it, right? We 3 amigos. And I said, I lasted 20 seconds. How long did you last? And it's like 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Like, it is one of the stronger worst. One. Only because, what was amazing to me was you guys are trying and straining to be so relevant that you're missing the point. You've missed the boat on doing the right thing. And you making this video is making you culpable. You're giving me reasons not to support you ever again. Mate. Like, I don't need to support celebrities. I don't need you guys. You have no bearing on my life, like, whatsoever. Just act and shut up. And this is but this is a thing, right? So I've got to give props to Kanye for this one thing. And it was during the BLM marches last year where he turned up and said nothing. He was just there.
He was,
however,
absolutely.
Now, I know John Boyega, he's a boy, all right?
Yeah.
I like him as a person, but when it was BLM here in the UK and he's getting on the mic, bro, and he's showing that passion and he's crying and all of that stuff and he's feeling it, and you're an actor. Yeah, but you might be coming from a good point, but you're an actor. You can do that on command.
I was just thinking that earlier.
The problem is, I don't know, bro. If that's 100% genuine, I think it is. My eyes are telling me it is, but is it? And this is the thing. Like, this is why celebrities are a dangerous thing, because John Boyega, talented actor. If you've seen Detroit, there's one moment in that where he's in the jail cell and the camera just hovers on him for about 4 seconds. 4 of the best seconds he's ever acted. It was amazing. I was like, this guy's the real deal, right? But however, I just think that John Boyega just being there and not saying a word, like, the BLM protests were about the ordinary man, the normal man, the not famous person. I don't need celebrity. Like, I don't like John Boyega. You're a cool dude in that. We don't need to hear you. We've seen you in films. We've seen you in interviews. When he's, saying like, you ain't gonna Disney Plus me, and that you got attitude. You got sauce, boy. Like, he's cool. I believe
you've spoken you've been able to speak your parts in other platforms. That's it. Right?
It's not like BLM was not the time. It's not the time for celebrities now. It is the time for the ordinary people. And like this, in the roundabout way, is where I think we are. Well, where I hope we are anyway.
would you equate the, you know how during the BLM thing there was a lot of companies coming out with statements saying that we back BLM and we back human rights issues, blah blah blah, but then it just felt like virtue signaling, like they put
you've got
it's nothing for them to put out the statement, right? It's nothing for them.
nothing.
Are they actually going to change any of their practices which exploit a lot of this stuff to begin with? Like you see how there's that, right? There's that argument to be made. Do you think it's similar to with celebrities and actors, where it's like it's almost too easy for them to just get on their platform and say something,
Yeah,
not actually do anything? And maybe that's why it leaves that taste in your mouth, like, yeah, cool, like you're just kind of a bonus feature, you add to the conversation a little bit. I don't need, it's you know what it is, I've always felt this with when it's like something big happens and on the news they would say the prime minister made a statement, or so and so, we're waiting for a statement from this person. And I used to think, why do we give a fuck what they're going to say? Because it's the same bullshit that gets said it's just a remix of words where you just fill in the gaps with whatever new thing just happened that went bad, right? Thoughts and prayers with this, and this. We are deeply horrified. Rule of three. Say 3 adjectives of things that you are bad, right? 3 negative words in a row. It's all just shit that you just learn in English class at fucking GCSE, right? About what makes a good speech. Like, it's always rubbed me the wrong way, because I've just thought these are just empty fucking words. Does anyone sit here and think I am put at ease now because the prime minister has said his speech?
Yeah, there are people that think that. Yeah, there must be.
I don't get it. Am I missing a mark here? That's what I wonder.
I think it's down to mindset. I think it's, people that haven't sort of seen behind the curtain. Maybe they haven't had that sort of like eureka moment where you're like, oh, hang on a minute, that don't sit right. I mean, I think
it's kind of scary, isn't it? Like,
so in all fairness, celebrities are easier to pick on because they're not renowned for being, the most genius human beings, right?
Sure, yeah.
But then even when you get to the genius human beings or perceived genius, so you got Bill and Melinda Gates, right? Bill Gates is saying about like how you need to lower your carbon footprint and all of that. All right, fine. Show me yours and I'll show you mine, sort of thing. All right, cool. I'll show you my carbon footprint, but you've got 4 fucking private jets, you twat. And you're telling me about carbon footprints. Leonardo DiCaprio is talking about flipping air emissions. He's got a private jet. What are you talking about, Lewis Hamilton? You drive a car for flipping, for your career. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I need to cut down my carbon emissions. I tell you what, mate, get rid of your own private jet. Stop driving around in your flashy ass, car or whatever. And then we can talk, with my little Ford, my little Ford Focus parked out front. Like, then we can talk about carbon footprint. Like, these guys are empty. It's
empty, right? There's an argument to be made there that it's too easy for them to say one thing and not actually act on it. And then you'll get the people who surge in to praise them because what they've said sounds it's like on Question Time, like I talked about the other day, when people just go for the applause as opposed to actually saying anything of weight, right? And unfortunately there's not a lot of nuance in this kind of conversation with a lot of people. It's very black and white, and that's not how it should be, because there is complexity behind this. And so when it comes to celebrity worship, like there was another I hate to rag on I'm not trying to rag on Drake or anything, but he just came up a lot during the weekend, right? And but
good, man, you're preaching to the choir here, bro.
No. I'm a big Drake fan. Let's just get this out of the way. I'm not hating, because I got told I was hating even this weekend, and I was like, bro, can I not make any criticism of the guy? This is exactly my point. But like, actually, funnily enough, one of my friends who said that but he makes bangers though, when we're talking about cultural appropriation, he actually was on he said something later which I resonated with, and I was on his side. This is what I meant. Like, when we kept talking about Drake, it became like 2 of us versus the other guy, and then we shifted the topic slightly. Suddenly it was those 2 against me, and it's like it kept changing like that. Very few times everyone would agree with each other. And we were talking about the God's Plan video. I don't know if you've seen it or heard the song, and it's very uplifting, very kind of, it's a fun song, but it's very uplifting, very kind of motivational. And it was a big hit like in 2018 and probably still is now, right? You can play it now, you know, it would go off. But in the video, he's basically going to all these people and he's like surprising them. So like they will turn around and suddenly like he's there and they'll go like, you know, they'll go ape shit because it's like, that's Drake, right? And then he would like give them like a lot of money and stuff like that. Or he would go to a supermarket and be like, I'm buying everyone's groceries here who's in the store, blah, blah, blah. I'm paying for all of it. Yeah, and stuff like that. Now, what my mate was arguing was that he started to become sour on the song after he watched the video, because it just felt like a more glorified version of people who go and give like money to the homeless and film it, like film themselves giving that money to the homeless, right? This was a bit of a nicer, touched up, over kind of big budget version of that. In principle, it felt like the same thing, but because it's Drake, suddenly it's aspirational, right? But when it's like keep the same energy for both, right? This is where the idolization starts to come in. When one person does it, and I get, again, there's nuance in there, right?
Yeah.
His intent, I got the intention behind the video. Doesn't mean that he wasn't actually helping them out. He could have been genuinely helping them out when he shot the video.
Yeah.
But you can't help the fact that people might watch that and feel a bit thrown off by it. Like when lockdown happened, he did the Tootsie Slide video, and he was like, I'm doing this because we're in lockdown, we're all in this together. And the video is him just dancing around his fucking humongous house.
I saw that and I was like,
right, how tone deaf is that? That's exactly the words my mate used. That's not even my words. That's what his words were, which was, how tone deaf is that? We're not all in this together, Drake.
Some of us right in your gated community,
right? And you're saying that, oh, I only ever use the swimming pool now because I have to stay at home. Okay, like,
you're not making, like, I don't like him anyway, right? Hearing this, and you've reminded me of this video. Yeah, man. No, he's placed back in the. I've opened the box up. I've put Drake in there. I've closed the lid on the hate. I've closed the lid on the hate box. Yeah, man. He's in there.
But he, again, there's obviously, like I keep saying, there's nuance to this conversation. He could have great intentions for all of this, and sometimes I believe he might do. It's just, I think maybe there might be people around him who know the implications, but don't care, because all they care about is publicity. They care about conversation being made about him. They don't care about him, right? They'll be like, yeah, you know what, Drake, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's do that. Knowing full well that, in essence, ethically, this is a stupid decision.
Yeah, for real.
But that's going to attract a lot of numbers. What do we want? We want numbers and we want money. So who gives a fuck? We're not Drake. We're just his team.
But there you go.
That's why you shouldn't be idolizing the celebrities. They're not even always the ones making the decisions.
Exactly. We spoke about it. I don't know if we spoke about it on the stereo or whenever. But basically,
about labels and stuff. Yeah.
All these people might not even know, when they rock up to video shoots and stuff, they ain't in control.
Yeah, we were talking about. Yeah, we were talking about that on stereo, I think.
Yeah. So exactly. in all fairness, they're part of something, a money making machine. That's all these labels want, right? And they don't care about, I think, the social damage that they're causing.
Come with it.
I'm so happy that I grew up with Rage Against the Machine in the zeitgeist. Like, I'm so happy I grew up with that, because I remember seeing them the first time I saw them was on TV, and it was like Reading, and I just remember this skinny dude who looks like a rat with dreads, shouting about a bullet in the head, and I was like, what is this? You've got my attention. And then the more you sort of grow, to learn about them, these are people that with principles that stood for something. And yes, they were commercially really viable and stuff. And I can't remember, there was some really altruistic thing they did with their money, but I can't remember. But looking at, Michael Jackson had more money than entire countries.
I was just about to mention him.
Did do a hell of a lot of good, wasn't he? When he was alive, wasn't he the biggest contributor to charities? And now, we don't know how many people were helped because of that, because some charities or lots of
course, the
money doesn't necessarily
his intention
go where
was
it's needed.
There, right?
As misguided as it would have been,
Yeah, but his intention felt very genuine as well, because a lot of this came to light after he died. That's a key point. He never went around telling, he only ever, like, in one interview, said it in a defense where he said, when I come here, I go and visit these sick children, right? And then the paparazzi spin it and make it sound like, you know, I did something or I said something that was, like, you know, out of order, when I didn't. And that's the only time I've heard him really openly say, like, I gave, or it's on a private tape that has come out after he died. It's never been, it's not like the Drake thing where it's like, I'm going to show people how altruistic I've been.
Yeah. Shut up. We don't need to see it. We need to hear, you know, like Keanu Reeves, for example, over the years, loads of stories have come out just over the years of just how much of a legend he is. It's just like, you know, during the Matrix films, I'm sure you heard that the visual effects team weren't getting paid fairly. So he was like, well, all right, cool. Like, I'm getting 60 million.
Right.
Just divvy up 30 million between you. Do you know what I mean? Like things like that. Like,
without having to tell people as well. You don't need to tell people.
Yeah, and he wouldn't say a thing to anybody. And that's the thing, you know, there were loads of stories about how nice Keanu Reeves is, just on a human level.
People said that about Eminem. People said that about MJ, like even with Eminem as well. Yeah, like how just down to earth he is. Like almost all celebrities I've watched interviews of, when they've said they've met him, they just talk about how he is what he is in his music. Like he's really into hip hop. That's like what he talks about, and he talks about what he's into, and he actually does listen to like new artists, and he follows the game. He's very up to date. So when you listen to his music, and you might say, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? Well, actually, he genuinely is just doing what he wants to do, right? Because he's very up to date on what's going on right now. His ear is to the street. But then it's like, it does make it a bit more frustrating. Like, okay, but Emma, I want you to do, I want you to do what these guys are doing. But it's like, you know, Royce the 5'9" is having to like really back him recently and say, because people have been asking like, well, what does Eminem do? What charities does he give to? What's he done for Detroit? And he's like, what? Like, he just doesn't go and brag about it. And if he did brag about it, you lot would be like, why is he bragging about it? He can't win. Like, you know, that feels more genuine. He's just doing it because he believes in it.
Royce the 5'9" even said it himself. He's just like, look, he's my friend. I'm not just cooning for a white guy.
Like, yeah, he's actually my friend. And Royce is the last person to coon. Like, I don't feel comfortable me saying that, right? But like, he's the last person to be doing that for like,
I agree.
A white guy.
I don't get the sense that he's a guy that suffers fools. Like, you know, Royce is awesome.
Royce is a great guy. And Royce is very pro-black and very much, you know, I don't care if this white guy has 1 million fans and 1 million this and this and that. This guy is just my friend. If he wasn't, and he was doing some suspect shit,
he'd call him out on it.
Yeah,
he would. That's the thing. Like, I think he's pretty stand up, but
he called out Joe Budden while they were part of the same group. Like, he fully just went out of his way and was like, yeah, you shouldn't have said that about Eminem, you know? And he met Eminem later than he met Joe, or than he knew Joe, I think. No, that's not true. But like, when they reconnected, they go way back to the 90s.
Like, right? I think Roy said that there was a 10-year period where they didn't speak, or 9 or 10-year period.
Yeah, that's it. And during that period, I think he formed Slaughterhouse with Joel Ortiz and Joe and Crooked. So they were like closer. And then he reconnected his relationship, I think, with Eminem. So like during that time, so Eminem came back into the picture. So that's what I meant. So you didn't have to like, but he still called Joe out, saying, you know, why not just call up Eminem and tell him that you don't like the way this is happening or the way this is being done? Why did you have to talk about it on your show in front of all these people? Like, he's supposed to be your boy. You know, he said that out loud. He's not picking sides. He's just going at, you know,
just calling
what he thinks is right.
He's calling out the infringement. Basically, he's just like, that violates the code. Like,
yeah,
right. Let's just air this all now, and then let's just move on, sort of thing. Yeah, he's very, very sort of pragmatic in that sense.
Exactly. And again, it's all about it's, you know, as much, it's a mix of things, intention and, you know, what your delivery, how, you know, reading the room and stuff. So, you know, Drake didn't feel like. And again, in Drake's favor, he may just be so kind of living such a unique life compared to all of us.
This is another thing. It's reference point. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
maybe he just couldn't see it, right?
Yeah, fingers
maybe,
not on the pulse. That's the thing.
Maybe, you know, I can imagine that to him, he's just thinking from a principled point of view of, oh, we're all in this together because there's a virus out there. Even me as a celebrity, I'm not safe from it, you know, or whatever. We all have to, you know, stay home or whatever. It's like, okay, great, but you then have to go a step further and realize where you are compared to where everyone else is, and think about how they would view that. You know, for example, I don't think either he didn't go that far or someone in his team didn't go that far. I don't know what it is. Again, I'm not.
Or
there.
he just lacks empathy because he's a morally ambiguous, vacuous black hole of intention.
It could be that too, but again, we don't know, and I'm not gonna defend that point just because I like his music. Yeah, you know, I don't know him,
but that's the thing. Yeah, like he makes bangers. You can make excuses for, like, well, not excuses, but you can make allowances. Sorry, for anything like that, because maybe it was just a genuine misstep. Maybe he was trying to, you know, trying to do some good in the world. Like, I've got all this money, I just need to blow it on whatever. That is a fantastic thing to do. But the thing is, as well, I think what builds like not like a mythos, like a mythos. Like, I think Keanu Reeves has that, where it's very much, you know, refer to my earlier point, where none of it was done in front of the cameras. It wasn't done for attention. Just
it wasn't
good
done
shit
for
that he's
clout.
done. And like, you know, I ragged on Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, he's done a bunch of good stuff as well. Like, don't get me wrong. But just don't preach when you've got a private jet and private boats.
This is the thing.
Like, again, shut up. You
nuance.
Don't regulate my life. And this is the thing. This is why nobody should worship any celebrities or think that they've got any clout, because they do not identify on our level. They do not vibrate on our frequencies, like, in terms of money. So
how can you expect them to, right? Like, you know,
why would you want to? Somebody gives me 20 million pounds for like an album that I've done. You think I'm going to live in this? I love this house. Like, don't get me wrong. You think I'm going to live
I love
here?
this house, but I'm setting my sights beyond this. Why would I stop here?
I'm buying this house outright, and then I'm going to buy some unbelievably sick house.
Exactly.
With gates.
When you get 3 mortgages, like your boy
2
Drizzy.
mortgages, like, worth 30 million. It's a bad investment. Bad investment. Because if you're relying on album sales, you've got to be making albums for the rest of your life. What are you doing?
Yeah. But yeah.
What are you doing? Anyway.
Well, so it's so interesting. Like, at uni, I remember, I think I told you, because I think I had to do a foundation year. So I did this year, and I took a gap year. So during my gap year, they changed what the foundation year was. So then during the foundation year, it became more geared towards international students. So one of the courses you had to do, one of the modules, was like the last 200 years of the United Kingdom's kind of history. And so I ended up having to do that, right? I thought I was just going in to do philosophy, right? But then that became a part of it, because during my year, if I had gone straight after college, then it would have been different, I think. But during my gap year, they happened to change it for that. It was more that, oh, okay, the following year, we're going to gear it more towards international students. And that happened to be the year I was actually going to go to uni, if that makes sense, because there was a year gap. So by the time I got there, they switched it up a little bit. And so I remember doing this class, and it was like very small classes, like 8 people, and mainly international students. And so I understood what it was. It's trying to like climatize them to the living in the UK for the next 4 years, and kind of studying here and living here and being here. And we had this really great teacher who, or lecturer, and he I think, was it on this show? I was mentioned to you that whole thing about school uniforms, how they changed from like boys' ones were like light red, pink, and girls wore a different color. And then at one point they just switched them. And you know, I think maybe when we were talking about female MCs.
I think so. That strikes me as stereo.
Yeah, it might have been a stereo talk, because I remember we were talking about like our bias and perceptions towards different people from different kind of sections of life. And another thing that he kind of illuminated to us was that this idea of being a celebrity, or like it's something you never think of really until someone puts it in front of you. that this idea of asking like a musician or an actor about something related to politics or something else that they're not qualified to talk about is actually quite new. And actually, when you sit there and think through it like that, and you think, wait, yeah, why do we ask these people or care what these people think about things that they're not qualified to talk about? Really, I mean, some of them might be qualified to talk about it. They might just have this particular like niche interest in something, or like have done a lot of study on it. Fine. But a lot of the time it's like, then, you know, you're asking them certain questions and that they're not qualified to really give a really, really deep, you know, viewpoint on. And then you kind of put their answer everywhere out in the media.
Yeah.
Not the people whose voices actually are really, really matter, right? So we get these simplified, overly kind of, oh, what I've said is so profound kind of bullshit everywhere. And it's like, okay, but what are the experts saying? What's actually happening? I don't care what Leonardo DiCaprio thinks about this shit. I care what the actual person doing this shit thinks about this shit. Like,
so yeah, I hear you, bro.
Strange, isn't it?
It's two things which will prove the case that you're making, right? I remember this, and like even Dave Chappelle referenced it. So I remember it when it happened, and then Dave Chappelle said it on the Chappelle show, right? But it was during the World Trade Center fell, and I'll never forget, on the Saturday morning there was an interview, because I used to listen to Capital Radio. There was Capital Radio, Radio X. There was like 105.4. I can't. There was a bunch of other like underground stations. Anyway, I happened to be listening to Capital that morning, and then they said, you know, we've got Ja Rule to talk about the World Trade Center.
I knew it was going to be this.
Yeah,
I knew.
And I do remember when Dave Chappelle said it, and I was like, oh my god, like I remember this interview.
Yeah,
and like it's just the way that I didn't think this at the time, but I remember when Dave Chappelle was just like, who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks?
Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks?
Such a good point. Like it's such a good point. And also like with regards to the wrong people getting the getting the mic, so to speak. I think that during, you know, a lot of these, you know, the pandemic and stuff like that, a lot of scientists who are leading epidemiologists and virologists have published work saying, hey guys, maybe the way that you know the UK government is handling things isn't the right way. Maybe we should look at doing X, Y, and Z like other ways. Sure. They haven't been given the mic, and they've been, you know, sort of shouted down as conspiracy theorists or people that are, you know, contrary to the common good, you know, and almost not deplatformed, but you know, sort of
lesser platforms,
cast away into the shadows, sort of thing. So I think basically what it is when you have a celebrity say it, it's like a friendly, well-known face. You kind of identify with a celebrity, like people identify with movies, like you do music, right? Your musical taste is personal. You know, your political taste is personal, but you know, your movie taste is also personal, and you develop relationships with different actors because they portray different characters that you happen to like. For me, I mean, I could rattle you off a bunch of actors who I love, right?
Yeah, sure,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Harrison Ford, flipping love Harrison Ford. I think he's amazing, right? Love a bit of Clint Eastwood. Yep, give me a bit of Denzel Washington, you know?
Yeah, Denzel Washington's that guy.
He was that guy. He was that guy. Yeah.
Okay.
The reason I say,
are you talking acting or?
Oh, I'm just talking acting. Yeah, I just think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm off the Denzel train. But anyway,
fair.
But I do think that with actors, you can package up a complex idea and make it really, really simple, so that people are easily amenable, I guess, to whatever small message you want to get across to them. And I guess that's why there's been such a, especially in the last few years, an over-reliance on celebrities. You know, like you know, KaeDee is everywhere, or you know, Beyonce is everywhere and stuff. And it's like, well, we've had a bit much of that. But I think during COVID and stuff, it's almost, this is how it feels for me anyway. It feels like a reset on, oh, hang on a minute, these guys are just people too. Like, I don't.
Yes, I felt that too.
They're actors. They're idiots. Like, I'm an idiot. Like, you know, these guys are idiots too.
Yeah.
Like,
You just
You
happen
know,
to get famous and get paid more, right?
exactly. You know, you're
Yeah,
figuring it out too, and you're
yeah,
culpable, and you'll make mistakes too. And this is the thing. You know, it's almost like the great equalizer, and it's. You know,
yeah,
I hope we don't go back into, you know, loving celebrities anymore, or, you know, idolizing them and thinking that they
yeah.
should have any sway. You know, I've really come on the other side of the fence now, where I'm like, if you're an
Mm,
actor, act and shut
same.
up. I want to see you on
Yeah,
film.
yeah,
I don't want to hear you in real life. You ain't got no right to actually talk to me, a grown man, about
yeah,
how I need to live my life. Like, no, I
for
figured it out
sure.
myself, right?
Yeah,
But if you're going to talk to me like a, well-learned people, let's take, I don't know, he's a psychologist, Jordan Peterson, for example.
right.
I'll listen to that for ages, because, you know, you're bringing new knowledge into my head. You know, you're not telling me
Sure.
how to. You're giving me like
Ye-
about 17 different options. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're a
Right.
psychologist. You understand, you know, a little bit more how people work. So I'm going to sort of listen to what they
I'm gonna
will
listen to
say.
you, not
Whereas, yeah,
whoever else. Like, I
whereas
can't even pick off the top of my head.
exactly. Whereas actors, what can you do? You can cry on command and you can act angry whenever you want. Okay, fine, great. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know,
Yeah,
it
I
is.
get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Actors are brilliant. Like, don't get me wrong. It's a
Yeah,
very,
of
very
course, yeah.
difficult
But
thing.
I
I'm
know the
just
point you're trying to make
trivializing it.
is that,
Yeah.
yeah, you're trying to say that, look, this, if I boil it down, look, you do this thing in the same way that my thing that I do, which is
Yeah.
like I'm very good at, I also do that. But no one's coming to ask me for my fucking political opinion except for my friends because they're just genuinely interested, right? The world isn't, right? You know,
Exactly.
and no one's giving it like the weight of kind of, well, this is going to change my opinion because KaeDee thinks this, right? But
You never know.
if I was a famous actor or a famous musician or something, I can see then that changing. And that in principle is a bit of an issue, right? And that, but I think you're right. I think during the COVID times, I've seen this kind of shift where it's kind of
Mm.
changed. Um, we've gone very, very off the original.
Yeah,
Well,
we
actually,
have.
cultural appropriation was a good topic, which linked from it.
Yeah, man. I just wanted your take on Sunny as a, you know, a sort of, you
David,
know,
you know,
lighter
when
skinned
you
dude.
ask my take on light skinned dude, no, I'm joking, on just things like this in general, you know, you've got to add another hour to the conversation.
Yeah.
So
No, it's good, man. Like,
play with that fire wisely.
well done on bringing it back, because I was trying to for the last 8 minutes, but I failed.
Yeah, but there's always another kind of thing that pops up like, oh
I
man,
know, just I've got
that's
to
a
say
great
it.
point too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. My
Okay.
OCD won't let me keep it, but yeah,
What would you give? So the original album, Testify, mate, be as
yeah, yeah.
brutal as you want.
We were talking about this album. If you forgot, um, yeah, for an album that I just thought was so mid throughout for me personally, we did talk quite a bit, but I would give this like a 4 out of 10,
Fair play, man.
maybe.
Fair
Yeah,
play.
4 out of 10. Three felt a bit too harsh. Four, it's mid. For me, it's just a very whatever, man. I'll probably forget about it. Well, actually, I might not because I might remember this episode, but that's it, right? Otherwise, I think I'll forget about it. Top five, I had to pick. I'm not going to start dissecting different parts of the songs. Like, oh, I'll take the chorus from this song, and I'll take the little middle eight from this song.
It's a shame, innit? Yeah.
Yeah, my top 1.5. No, I'm joking. My top five is probably Roots in Stereo,
Yeah. Banger.
Lights Out.
Yeah.
If You Could See Me Now, just because I wrote there's parts that I like, parts that I don't like. And that's as positive as it got. So and then Strength of My Life, that was a nice tune. Then I guess Say Hello.
Say hello. Yeah.
The Strength of
I
My Life would be at the top along with Roots and Stereo. The
yeah.
rest are kind of just, I have to pick another three. So that's where we're at.
Amazing. So, well, that might be our lowest.
That could be the lowest one.
Because
What
I
did you give the
gave
Mad Lib one?
a 6.5, I think.
Okay.
Or a 5.5, one of the two. No,
Yeah,
I
so this
think I
one's,
gave The Weekend a 5, didn't
oh shit, yeah.
I? Yeah. So, do you know
Well, that
what,
was a little
man?
bit high.
Kofi Stone's still the man to beat for me.
Kobe stuff. Yeah, I want. Thing is, now that I've kind of changed my approach slightly to what I give you, I don't think anything's going to beat it. So, well, you never know. You never know. But it's my turn to give you an exchange, right? I have 3 options in my head.
Jeez, you do this all the time. Just pick no, man.
I know, but then I get impatient because I'm like, oh man, maybe there's some that I want to kind of discuss sooner than later. Tell you what, I'm just gonna give this one to you because we've been you're not gonna like it, but have you heard we've been talking about him a lot through this episode.
Not
and
a
you've
Drake.
already heard.
No, not
Sorry,
another
David.
Oh,
sorry, David, it's gonna happen.
Sake.
Have you heard Views by Drake?
Views.
You've probably heard a couple of songs from it because you couldn't escape them.
Rhymes with poos, because this is what this album's going to be like. Poos.
What? Going with an open mind.
I hate Drake, man. Screw him. Nah, okay, cool. Hang on a minute. Drake, Views, yeah?
Yeah. You've probably heard like One Dance Controller, Too Good.
Yeah, I've heard this album. Yeah.
All the way from beginning to end.
All the way through, beginning to end. This basically, yeah. There are a couple of really, really good tunes on here. Like good tunes on here.
I really wanted to talk about it because it
still
grew
here.
on me so hard. Yeah, it grew on me so hard. I listened to it earlier today, and I was like, "Yeah, this
was that Hotline Bling."
Yeah, that was like a little bonus track at the end, but that was a big tune. I remember that.
Yeah, I hated it when I heard it, and then I listened to it the other day, and I was like, "What am I thinking?" I really liked it.
Such a fun tune. Yeah, such a good.
Really
fun
liked
tune.
it all of a sudden. I know I sort of always, crap on Drake. I just find it fun because I'm an idiot.
I was just about to say it's kind of fun. Like I always say to my friends, like, oh, that song trash. That song trash. There's very few songs that I actually think are trash. Like if I don't like a song, I just kind of move on. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like,
yeah,
whatever,
I wouldn't.
Man.
Yeah,
I don't actively. There's only a handful of songs or music that I actively dislike where I'm like, that should be deleted off the face of the planet. Like,
I have a contender for that, which I might give you one day.
Okay. All right. Well, and the thing is with this Drake album as well, with Views, is I wanted to discuss it because we talked about if you're reading this. I thought, okay, I wonder if you listen to this one, if you'll kind of hear the difference, right? So I don't know if you remember it too tough, but
you're actually still giving it to me.
No, I don't know. No. I'm just explaining why I would have I wanted to give it to you. Yeah. I mean, how fresh is it in your memory?
I only really remember. There's only one song that I can remember the tune of.
Okay.
Tell a lie.
So you basically
Hotline Bling and Too Good. Those are the only two that I really remember.
I'm giving you the album. You shouldn't have said that. I'm giving you the album then.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, this is a long-ass album as well.
Yep. You can listen to it fresh.
Oh, good.
There you go. But going with an open mind. So, yeah.
Goody.
Yeah. It was, I had 3 options. 2 of them were artists that we've talked about before. And it's in another project of theirs to kind of give a different perspective.
Diversify the exchanges, man.
Well, I'm diversifying in different ways, where it's like it's the same artist but a different type of album.
I'm just pulling your leg, mate. I'm just being
No, you ain't. No, I'm joking. But yeah,
well, how many songs are on here? Bloody hell.
16 that matter. See if you can guess which ones, but no. Yeah, so
all right, cool. No, it's gonna be fun.
I'll give you that one.
I'm gonna
Drake Views.
All right, cool.
I'd like to hear you give it a more like proper listen. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to like a casual kind of, Drake dropped something, let's have a listen to it. I like this song, like that song. It'd be interesting to give it, if you have this opportunity, just give it a proper listen, and then we can talk about it. And we love talking about Drake on here. You know, sparks a lot of interesting conversations.
Love talking about Drake.
I'm a big Drake fan.
I know, mate. Just no.
I'm a very
mouth
fair
open
Drake fan,
on your knees.
So you're just like everyone else. Can't say anything critical about Drake. Really, you're the secret Drake admirer here. That's why you keep saying shit like that. That's what it is. I say anything critical about Drake, and suddenly it's you're sucking him off, blah, 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 blah. You're just like everyone else, David. You're just like everyone else.
You know what? Yeah, fine. If you wanna try
Facts.
and do that, okay.
Yeah, I didn't have to try, did it? All right, let's outro this shit.
Seriously, wow, dude.
On that note,
he gets so protective over his little boyfriend. There's a little Karen. Okay. So
I actually don't know how this has happened, actually, because actually I'm like, yeah, actually I have.
so protective. Goodness me.
I'm like, actually, wait a minute, I have been quite protective, like, but why? But
man, this episode has gone. We are so off the rails. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna outro this. I mean, this has been a lot of fun talking about P.O.D. and then going off into setting the world right as usual. This is
you
know what I mean? Like this is also why I like this
do.
new. Yeah, it's kind of what we do. And also this is one reason why I genuinely enjoy doing this show. The fact is, you start at one point and you end up in Narnia,
Yeah. Because of music, because of an album.
Because of music,
right? That the other person may never have listened to or heard.
And will never listen to it again.
Yeah, we'll never listen to it again in this case.
Yeah, and that's do you know what, man? It's fair enough. It's fair enough.
Yeah, but that's the point, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just to open. Listen, it's just to sort of like open your, kind of, get you used to, some of the, the sonics, or just understand what you might like and what appeals to you and stuff like that. Because, but in all fairness,
this helped me identify things I didn't like, which was interesting, So I would never have listened to something like this otherwise. That's the great part about it, I kind of need a reason.
Yeah, bro. Like, I think I will give you one of their earlier albums just to see how you vibe with that, because I think you would get on with that a lot more. The album, but the thing is, you can tell they're old albums. Like you can really hear it.
Okay.
And that's a shame. It's not like Battle of Los Angeles, which still they could have dropped that yesterday. Sounds so fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, right, we have been going on and on. It's been a lot of fun, KaeDee. Like it's been really, really good.
Been a great one, yeah.
Yeah.
This is another thing I like about this new format as well, is that people can kind of like pick and choose. As in, like, they can go through the list and be like, I know that album, let's just listen to this. It's not like there's not like you have to listen in order or anything like that. It's just a collection of thoughts and ideas, and this album is like the central part of the conversation, which then sparked other parts. Like, who would have thought this album would have sparked all this talk about cultural appropriation, signaling, and all this sort of stuff, and celebrity worship. I mean, were those even topics on the album? I don't even know. Like,
no, the album's very much about self and self-improvement and faith in a higher power and love and memories and loss. Like, it's very, it comes from a real positive place.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's what I think music should be for the most part. And it should be pain. But anyway, you wait, man, further on down the line. Oh my goodness, you are going to get some absolute bangers. Slipknot's first album. Okay. That's coming. Anyway, right. Outro. It's taken me 8 minutes. Thank you so much for your
this is your part to shine, man.
Stop interrupting me then.
Well, you should be able to adapt to that. No, I'm joking.
Please excuse the coughing and stuff. I'm still not 100%, but guys, excuses, like, thank you so much for being with us. I've said that 3 times now. We will be back on Thursday for a stereo chat. We've already ascertained what that's going to be, but my phone's just died, so I can't remember what the subject is. But anyway, join us 8 p.m. Thursday evening. We will be there live and direct. Corner coca leaf vocally.
Packing some groceries.
Exactly. And thanks so much, and we'll see you next time for the next K&D exchange.
Bang bang.
Peace.